So for this session, we're going to be talking about how to create embed messages on Discord. So if you guys don't know, embed messages are basically your text is in like a block with colors and titles, images, and other customizable fields that you can add to it. We're going to figure out how to create that in our Discord bot.
Okay, so first we're going to be discussing the message embed type. It's going to be a type with many different components, such as like the URL, the type, the title, description, timestamp, color, etc. If you scroll, Control F. Yeah, that's a doc for the message embed type. As you can see, there's like all the different components of it. So if we go back to our VS Code, the way we're gonna have to make the embed command is the same as you would any other command. You start by detecting the content of the message. So if m.content is your prefix plus embed. Now from here, we can start to initialize the embed with the colon equals. So if you were to type embed colon equals Discord go dot message embed, you'd be initializing a new embed type. So from here on, you can, if you go back to the docs, you can see that the first 6 are going to be primitive types like string, int. So those you can just assign directly. So if we go back, we can set like a title for it. For example, we can just do embed.title equals this is an embed or something like that. Color, it's going to be a little bit weird. It's going to be an int, but the way we do that is we have a hex code that we convert into a decimal number. But for now, we're just going to color is 1752220. But you can set this to whatever color you want. But just for the sake of brevity, this is going to be our color. You can also set the description too. Like this is the description. Okay, so now once you get to the non-primitive types, such as footer, image, thumbnail, etc., the way you do these is a little bit differently. You're going to first initialize them as a pointer. So it's going to be embed.thumbnail equals and symbol discord go.message embed thumbnail. And from here, you have to set the URL of the thumbnail. So it would be embed.thumbnail.url is the URL of the thumbnail. And for this, you can just grab a URL of any image. So you can just go to Google, find some random image, and like, yeah. That would be a thumbnail for things like video and image. It would also be like the initialized in a similar way, like embed dot image is equal to discord go message embed image, etc. You just copy like the same format. Hmm? Oh, right. if you go to the design docs and you look at the right side, it's going to say embed empty. So all of them are going to have a default value of empty, which means that none of them have to be actually set to any actual value in order to properly use the embed. So you don't need to use all of them. Yeah. We'll just give you a moment to like play around with your custom embed, make something unique.
So after you guys understand this embed thing, what I want you to do is go back to this doc. You can see all these like components you have for embed, right? There's a lot of like creativity that you can do with this. And if you need to like figure out, for example, oh, what is this type right here, right? Just like click it, it'll bring you to the type structure and what you can set with it. So just take a few like minutes to just create your own embed with custom parameters, right? And let us know if you have any questions about it. We'll help you around with it. So yeah. And then we'll talk about how to send that embed to the actual channel. For now though, just like play around with these components. I'll leave this up on the screen for now.
Yeah.
I didn't get the image. Basically, type that there. We already did. Let's go to there. You're gonna talk about. They're very active. Yeah, I have something.
Does anyone have any questions on any of these components and how to implement them? On the empty
It means
base,
that you don't need to put anything in the field for it to work. So like, you don't need to use every single one of them. An empty just means that like,
so basically we could have this whole part just commented out and the embed would still work.
that's what an empty is for.
You don't need to set them. Yeah.
But you don't even need a placeholder.
No, yeah,
No.
it just yeah. But if you do that, it'd be like a blank embed. So yeah.
Some question, do you know like this is it terms of brackets?
What was it?
Is it braces?
Oh yeah, brackets. It's brackets. Yes.
Tell me this. Tell me this.
Sorry. How much more time do you guys like want for your embed? Like 1 minute, 2 minutes, or are we done? All right, so now we're going to talk about how to send the embed to the actual channel server.
So to actually send an embed, we're going to use a function similar to the one we used in Ping. If you remember, we used the channel message send. And the function we're going to use now is the channel message send embed. So the function is basically returning two types right now. The message pointer, which we don't actually need. So we're going to put a blank identifier and then the error function, which we're going to store later to check. And the function is child function of the session object. So in order to use it, we actually need to put the session and then the dot and then channel message send. And then the function uses three parameters and uses the channel ID, which we have, and embed, which we already created. And then we also have a dirt argument it's called a request option, but it has the ellipses in front of it. And then the ellipsis changes the argument types into a periodic function. And essentially this makes it so that you can have as many as the last argument as you want, and it stores it in like a array. But you don't actually need it because it's ellipses and it can have an argument of 0. So basically we're gonna declare it, and then we're gonna pass in all the arguments, the channel method ID, and then the embed we created, and we're gonna leave the last parameter blank. Now we're gonna use the error message we stored, and then we're gonna check if it actually has anything in it.
Anyone?
And this basically sends the message like we did in Ping, the embed.
Does anyone have any questions on how we did this? Once again, if you hover above it, you'll see what it's expecting, and you can see again that we have the ellipses. Ellipses just means that you don't really need the argument there.
You can pass as many arguments as you want of that type.
Also, if you guys are like curious as to what that third argument is, you can just like click request options here. It'll take you to the type, and it says it's a function that mutates request configuration. And if you click request config, you can see that you can change the request HTTP request. You can turn on a Boolean that says it should retry on rate limit. There's a max reset retries client. You don't need to set any of these, which is why it's optional, but it's there in case you if you need to in some situation. That's why you don't have it here, because you don't need it right now. Was that it for you?
If you don't pass in anything to the last variable, which has the ellipses, it just defaults to nil.
Is it my turn?
Yeah. Unless they have questions.
Okay, so now we're just gonna control save it, right? So it's loaded. And then we're going to go to our terminal. And we're just gonna run go run main.go. And notice how we're not doing go build again. Last time we mentioned go build is only if you have new dependencies. So we're just gonna run go run main.go, and it'll update all of our changes. Now, if we head back to the Discord server, we should see those changes in effect. So everyone go to your own testing channel that you created earlier this session and just run the command that you have. So I'm going to go to my testing channel here. And I'm going to type in my command. As you can see, it returns with, okay, it's very elongated, but you can see the embed here, right? Actually, I'm going to see if I can probably just do this in a new tab. That's too stretched out. But so now you can see my embed is actually there. The image is having some trouble loading. That's probably just because the URL was bad. Let's see if I can try fixing that. Oh, yeah, you see the different image. We'll grab like this. Where's the copy image? Wait. Copy image address. Over here. And if you can see the image loaded this time. So this is our thumbnail that we created the object. This is the title, the description. Let's check out what you guys have here. Okay. Do you guys have any questions about that? Oh, we got one working here. Pretty good. Do you guys have any questions? Any problems? Feel free to ask us.
Perfect is not working for me.
Are you using the config file?
Yeah.
Go over it for just. What do you think this way?
So this one without the config is working, but in fact I did import the config and my config.
Did you run the reconfig function here?
Oh,
it should be in your main. Yeah. Oh, it's coming out.
Oh, I have to
Yes.
use this and okay. Oh, it's not this.
Yep.
Oh, then it'll work now.
Probably try that. Oh, you have to save it and rerun. Remember?
It auto saves.
Auto saves and runs those. You have to rerun it though.
Rerun it. Oh, like restart. There we go.
There you go. Now I got it.
Yay.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions on this? Andy, go to.
Yeah.
I also real quick, I recommend you got. Oh, see, that's pretty funny. Okay, go around testing it with different like customization things, right? Throw in some different images. Maybe try the image parameter, change the color. Try to change the color. Add some fields if you want. Try to like explore with it and see how much you can change of the embed. We already did. We already did this. Yes, you were here.
Oh, that's not. I did not hear anything. And you said that. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so I recommend, I challenge you guys to like change the color of your embed. Try to do that. Try to use this image parameter. We haven't covered this, but it's the same concept. Just click this and you'll see like what type of components are required. So just try to add an actual image. We covered how to do thumbnail. So I want you guys to try on your own to do the image parameter. Use this one. Let me know if you guys have any problems with this.
Post a link to a document on the Discord.
Yeah, it's in general.
I'm gonna try to attempt to change the color on my own here. I'm gonna try to do this one. And we're gonna go to hexadecimal. Paste. Copy. Paste code. Change that out. Save. Try that out. Okay, so now I should pay purple color, which we got. Yep.
And
Cool.
you can also change like the username and profile picture spot too.
Yes, you can. Yes.
Just like in show you.
Was he able to get an image? Was he able to get an image? That makes sense. He asked if me, then he'll. Okay, let me know if anyone was able to successfully change the color of their embed.
Yes.
I saw, yeah, good job. Oh, you guys changed the color too, right? Cool. Yeah, let me just, I want to show that over here real fast. Yeah, that's pretty good. You guys got an image in there, you changed the color. Cool. Okay, so while you guys work on the embed customizations in the background, we'll move on to the next part of the session, which is the multiplexer. Raise your hand if any of you guys are in CS61 right now. Is anyone in CS61? Or else he can CS61? Okay, so basically, all you have to know about a multiplexer is that it takes one input and routes it to one of possible outputs. So you guys know, like, our user, we can type in our prefix, right? And then we can type in any type of command. We can type ping, embed, help, song, right? There's like thousands of like commands you can do. So the multiplexer is going to take our input of that command word and figure out what command are we trying to run. Up until now, the way we've been doing this is we've been just going in the main file itself and just checking like manually, is it ping? Is it embed? It's not very efficient, especially if you got like many more commands or more complex stuff. You want to make it more organized. Luckily for us, someone has already programmed the multiplexer code. So we are going to politely borrow that code. Let me get that over here. I will post this link in the Discord as well. But essentially, this is the code that we're going to borrow. Let me grab the link. Copy Discord. I will put it in resources. But just go to that GitHub link and you'll see the multiplexer code right here. I will go over all of it. It'll make sense in a minute, I promise. So for now, what we're going to do is just keep this code copied. Just highlight all of it and copy it. And then once you have that done, go back to VS Code. You're going to create, remember to just click over here, like outside, so you're not inside the packages, and create a global package, call it MUF. Right? It should not be a config. It should be its own package outside. All right, so it should not be inside a config. And then inside of that mux package, you're going to create a file. Nope, that's the package, right? You're going to create a file called mux.go. Okay, and in here, just paste it and save. It should be fine. There should be no errors. Let me know if you guys have any errors after pasting it. Okay, and I will go over this code shortly. For now, though, we're going to set it up in our main command. So just take your message create function and comment it out. We will no longer be needing that. And last session, we also did this thing called the start function. The start function, we're just calling it over here. Golang actually has a built-in thing called init. We're going to be using that instead. So to do that, we're going to say func init. This is how the init function will look like. If you guys are familiar with a lot of the languages like Java and all, or in Python also, they have their own initialization functions that run one time before the main code runs. So in here, we're going to basically set all the connections up. So to do this, we're going to start off. Okay, if you have the config code, we're going to grab the config code and put that in our init function. We don't need that in the main anymore. We'll put it inside of init. We don't want to. We just want that to run one time. Configure it one time, and then in our start function, we're going to copy this code that creates our new session, and we're going to create that session inside of the init as well. And we can also just get rid of the start function. We no longer need it. I will keep this code right here though, this message that shows that we succeeded in it. And I will put it inside of here. What? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a variable. Oh, also, we don't need the spot ID anymore because the multiplexer handles that for us. So we'll rely on that one. We're going to create a pointer variable called this mux.mux. So the mux function, the mux code, it has a type in there called mux right here. This is what we're going to create a pointer to called router. And then after you do that, we need to set it up. So in our initialization function, we will type router equals mux, references the package, and the package has a function called new. We'll call that function, and new, if you hover over it, it'll say, oh, we don't have it imported yet, but we'll do that soon. If you hit Control S, it should actually import that already, I think, or not. Okay. Real quick, just copy this part. Basically, where you hover over your mux package thing, you're going to copy relative path and paste that inside of here. Or okay, that copy path perhaps, and then you don't need the rest of that. You just need the outside package, the file folder name, followed by a forward slash, not backwards one, and then mux. And now these will be saved. And now if you hover over it, it'll tell you that it returns mux.mux pointer type. Okay. Following that initialization, we're going to add handler router.on message create. Oh, I'm trying to get the initialization. I'll explain all of it in detail later, but I need time for it. So, and then name for yeah. Okay. Oh, I just noticed that our open function is also. We'll add that back in real quick with open. Just throw in a quick error check to make sure it's successfully opened. And okay, that should be it. I can't see where the error is. Oh, it's All right, there we go. Great. So let me know when you guys have this. Basically, we're keeping the bot open function, the code, inside of our main thing. And before we had a function called start. We're gonna basically take all of that start stuff and put it in our init function. It'll look like this: the config reading, the new session, the initialization router, and the add handler.
Can you see your main one?
Yes. For now, just copy the code down. I will go line by line explaining everything after we get all the initialization stuff out the way. Let me know when everyone has the code copied down. Actually, real quick, I'll just do this right now. I have the code all inside of a doc. I will share that doc in the server so that you guys can directly copy paste it. But it is in resources, session 3, notes. If you guys go to the Discord and you go to resources, go to this Google Doc right here. And if you scroll down to multiplexer, the code is right here. You just gotta copy this down into your main function, main file. So let me know when you guys have that down. Is everyone good? Okay. I will now begin explaining the multiplexer. So to explain this, I'm gonna go line by line on the actual file itself. So go ahead and do that. Get rid of the terminal, okay. So the very first line is just package MUX. It's package MUX because that's the package we're inside of, right? It's its own package. These are the imports. We have the format package, the log. Log is basically the same thing as like debugging in some languages. And then we have this thing called regexp that stands for regular expression. It is only used once in this file, and we will see where that's used. We have strings, and then we have the Discord Go package. The next part is this route type. Now, as I mentioned earlier, multiplexer will take the user input and try to see what command you're trying to run. So in this code, all of the commands are associated as a route. So pattern is like the word you'll use to run the command. For example, when you type in like prefix embed or prefix ping, that word ping or embed is what the pattern is. Description is what does the function, the command actually do. And then help is a detailed string for what it does. And then the run parameter is this handler func type. Now, what is handler func? It is defined down here as a function struct. And basically, you're just going to put in the function to call when that command is called. It will make more sense when we show what function we're using. This part is a context struct. All this context is doing is giving a few more like variables for the message. For example, the content of the message. Is the message directing at the bot? Is there like a prefix? Is there a mention? Is it in DMs? Does it have a prefix? Does it mention anyone? Does it mention at the first starting? Like all these like variables to help with understanding the message itself. So that it's a helper type. And then I already said the handler function is going to be used to call the function that we want for the command. Now this type right here is the main one. This is called mux, right? It'll have a parameter or a component that stores a list of routes. This is where you're going to store all of your commands. So it'll know which ones are valid commands to like look for. And then this default one, the default parameter is what it'll call in case they can't find a matching command. And prefix is the prefix in front of the command. Now new is a function that you call to create a mux pointer and return that to the user or the main code, right? as a default prefix right here, but we don't have to use that. We can just use our own prefix, which we can do that right now. Below the router new, you can just say router dot prefix. It's right there, and then set that equal to whatever prefix you want. If you use the config file, you can just use config.dot prefix like that, and it'll use that prefix. Now this function is called route, and all route does is it'll take in your command and it'll add it to the list of valid commands. We'll be using this function later. Now this function is called fuzzy match. Fuzzy match, all it does is it'll take the message the user sent and we'll try to figure out if the command is called in that function, in that message. So if we have like a bunch of garbage and then we say like prefix ping, this fuzzy match will see, okay, they said ping and they added prefix, we'll call the function there. There's like a little more lenient in finding the matching command. It doesn't have to be like hard, only specific prefix and then command. This one is our new handler function. So previously in our main one, you should still have it there commented out. This is a message handler we hard coded in our main, right? The multiplexer will have its own one, and it'll go through your message. It'll grab your channel. It'll figure out if you ping the bot or if you use a prefix. This is where it'll check if you have a prefix. And then it'll call fuzzy match on it. After it confirms that you called the bot, it'll check what command was called. And it'll store that into here. And then right here is the running. It'll run your command. So that's basically the main part of multiplexer. It'll take your message, it'll figure out what command you wanted, and it'll run that specific command for us. So this is a much more efficient way of doing this because now, as a developer, all you have to do, previously when we wanted a new command, we have to go and physically type out all this like extra code, right? Now you'll see that all we have to do is this. We'll go to our init function, which is up here, and we'll go below the handler. We'll type in router dot route, and the first part will be the command. We'll just say ping for now. We'll just redo our ping command, and then now we need a description. So here we'll say ping command that returns latency. Now over here, we need to put the function to call if the multiplexer knows that we said ping. So we'll put router.ping. We haven't actually defined the function yet, but we will in a moment. And you'll see that router is a type of mux.mux, right? That type. When we declare our function, we're gonna make it a child of mux so that the mux pointer can call it. This is similar to when you saw the if you go down here, the channel message send. Notice how we had to call it with session. Channel message send is a child function of session. So for our ping command, we're going to make it a child function of mux, so that we can call it like this. So if you every time you want to add a command, you'll just do it this way. I'm going to repeat this real fast for our embed command. So I'll just say embed. Return and embed. And we'll have it called the embed function. So as you can see, we don't have any of these things defined yet. We should go do that right now. So to do that, we'll go to our mux package. We'll create a new file and just name it you can name it whatever you want, but just make sure it makes sense, right? So for our ping command, we'll just say ping.go, right? So now we have a file. And in this file, we're going to create our actual ping command. So if you go to the Google Doc, I have the code there. So I'm just going to go over there and copy that and put it here. So this is the code you want. So as you can see, it says package of mux because it's in the mux package. It has the import of time and discord.go, or yeah, right. And you can see this is much more efficient because it's a lot more organized. This file, all it does is specifically the ping. So if you have like an error with your ping command, you'll know that you have to go to this file to figure it out. You don't have to go to like a whole chunk of main code to figure out where your error is. So in here, we're gonna call it uppercase ping. If you have a function with the uppercase, it makes it a global function. And immediately you can notice that we have this part right here, the m pointer mux. This makes it a child function of mux. Now, if you have a mux pointer, we can call this function. And if you see this part, this is exactly the same thing we had earlier in our main command. The only difference is that you have this additional context parameter. This context is sent in by the multiplexer, and it's just to like give you more content, right? Or context related to the message. For example, you can figure out if ctx dot has prefix, right? Or has prefix. In case you want to check that, you can check that with this. So the multiplexer helps you a lot more in just routing. We also have our embed command, so we'll go ahead and add that as well. Embed.go. And for this, I'm going to copy the ping command, paste it in, but I will change this part to embed. And then I will go back to my main Go, and hopefully you just comment it out because we're going to copy this code now. We're going to copy all of this, copy it, go to our embed, and paste it right here.
So we're basically doing the same inside of if statement, but the mux is doing if statement for us.
Basically, yes. It's a more efficient way of doing this so that we don't have to do that every time. It'll just handle it for us. If you have like these underscore errors, right? It's probably just because the parameter or the value, the variable name doesn't match the parameter name. So let's go ahead and change those. Like for example, M is going to be DM, and then the S will be just be DS. I think that's it. Yeah, and now there's no errors. And it'll work the exact same way, but it's much easier to organize it like this. So let me know if you guys have any problems, any errors. We'll go ahead and take care of that before we move on. Raise your hand. Is everyone good? In case I went too quickly or you missed the code, once again, it's in the server on a Google Doc. Just gotta scroll down to multiplexer. You can copy that code, and then there should be the ping command is also there. For the embed, just copy the ping command, but just change it to the embed code. Yeah. Okay. Is everyone good?
Can you try like running with this code?
Oh, you want? Yeah. I'm gonna run it after everyone.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, we'll go ahead and run that right now. Which I don't know if you can. Well, where could it go? Oh, errors. Invalid memory address. Go check out what that is. It's in my main command.
Okay, I will go with extension. Golang. You install it in the right side. I did a problem. Try searching up Golang. I installed it also. What's that? That's the green side of it. Try it find this. I think I did website. On extension, I guess. No, I haven't done it. Just this. Can't import fonts. Oh. Another folder name. It's supposed to be folder name slash block.
Okay, most likely the error that's happening is that it's checking that bot it hasn't been defined yet when running main. So to fix that, we could probably just take this code and put it outside onto this one, perhaps.
Wait, but this thing that we haven't on the point, like. Oh, yeah, you have to register. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what's that?
Basically, like an extension. Like this would use this. Maybe it takes these nodes and do it right. Do it.
Okay, so the error I was getting was I was saying the pointer was nil because it wasn't initiated when main was running. So the only change that I made was that I took the open code that was initially in the main function and I put it right after we open the session. So that way it's not nil, it actually is a value when we're doing the .open. And now it's running. So now if we check the bot in action, we can see that it still works just as it would normally work. We have this, and then we have our embed is also there. And it's the same thing. The only difference is that we're using organized multiplexer to route our information for us. If anyone has any other errors or something similar to this or any problems running this, just raise your hand. We'll come help you. Yes, do you need help?
Yeah.
Let's see.
This is dear.
What does it say? Oh, I think you probably have the same errors I was having. Oh, did you move? Oh, you know you moved it though.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you're missing the new. Where's new? Oh, you put bot open before new. They should go after.
Oh, so
The
wait.
open goes after the new. You open the session first, and then you open the bot. So they should flip.
I move this before this.
Yes. Okay, I think that concludes it for this session. If you guys have any questions, feel free to stay around. We'll help you with them. But otherwise, the session is done. Next session, we'll probably talk about minigame commands and how to read input after we've already sent a command. So yeah, but yeah, it's a for the session. Thank you guys.